Women either reject you or they ghost you after a couple of weeks. You question why it's so hard, but the signs are right in front of you. It's time you discovered your red flags. Stick around, cause I need that watch time.
Stop right there, criminal scum!
Being rejected by a woman or her losing interest isn't always down to your looks. More times than not, it's down to your behaviour. The absolute biggest red flag in a man is his hygiene. If you have poor hygiene, you are not going to get results with women. Whether she's a 1 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10, it matters not. If you can't even look after yourself, how can you possibly look after a woman? Imagine that you're around a woman who smells really bad. Can you seriously put up with a woman with poor hygiene? I think not. So why would a woman want the same thing? This might not seem like a red flag, and unfortunately, a lot of men struggle with this, and that is having low confidence. If you have low confidence, it shows that you have a low sense of self-worth. If your sense of self-worth is low, you're naturally going to become a people pleaser, and this makes a man very needy. And in a relationship, if you're the kind of man who's constantly trying to do things to win her over, trying to please her, trying to get her approval or validation in some way, this is not only going to turn her off because you're not being very masculine, but it's also going to put an unnecessary amount of pressure on her. She's going to feel like she's forced to take care of you. She's forced to solve your problems. She's carrying you emotionally, and that's not what women are built to do. As a man, you should be able to carry yourself emotionally, because a man needs to be strong, he needs to be confident, he needs to be capable of surviving on his own, regardless of whether he's got a woman in his life or not. The next sign might be a bit controversial and it might offend you, but I need to tell you, having an addiction to certain adult content online, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The problem with this kind of content is that it's going to mess you up psychologically. Not only are you filling your system with all kinds of dopamine overload, which is going to mess up your reward system in your brain, but watching this kind of content is going to make you incredibly nervous around women. And the reason for that is because you are subconsciously programming yourself to see women as nothing more than sexual objects. And think about it like this. If you're talking to a girl and the only kind of intimacy you get is with your right or left hand, you're going to be thinking about that subconsciously. And that's going to make you nervous because your brain associates women with sex. Because you're nervous, it's going to affect your body language, which she's going to pick up on. Women want confident and capable men. But if you're nervous, you're never going to be able to demonstrate that. The next red flag is that you are too feminine in your mannerisms and you cannot control your emotions. One of the most basic principles of attraction is polarity. A masculine man is attracted to a feminine woman, and a feminine woman is attracted to a masculine man. But if you're a feminine man and she's a feminine woman, there is going to be no pull towards each other. It's going to repel her because she's going to perceive you as more of a woman. She wants a man and she wants a masculine man. A woman doesn't want to be with an emotional man who does not have control over himself, control over his emotions, over his impulses. He'll start displaying all kinds of emotion that is not necessary for the situation that he's currently in. As a man, you need to be a rock. You have to have the mindset of, I'm going to be okay no matter what. Women are much more emotionally led, and if you're led by your emotions, you're going to come across as more of a woman. As a man, you need to have logic and reason. You need to think things through thoroughly. If you're the provider, you're the protector of your family unit, what good is being emotional going to serve you? The next red flag is that you've got poor mental health. Now, you're not alone in this. A lot of people struggle with bad mental health, but the truth is that having poor mental health is going to affect your self-esteem. It's going to affect all kinds of things. You're going to have a lot of negative emotions flowing throughout your system. It's going to show through your body language. It's going to make you nervous. It's going to make you uncomfortable. You're going to give off really bad energy that's going to push other people away. It's going to affect your relationships, your friendships, and so on. If your mental health is poor and you're in a relationship, this is going to put a lot of pressure on her because she feels like she's got to be the one to solve your problems. You're putting her in a position of leadership that she does not want to be in. Women are not built for the kind of emotional strength that a man needs to have in his life. And if your mental health is poor, you need to do something about it. This next one might really offend you, and that is that you're a loser. You probably have zero ambition or a desire to do greater in life. Now, I'm not saying that you've got to be the best, because no one's the best, but if you have no drive to do better, what is your life going to be like in 5 years' time? You are on a downward trend. If you're just doing the same things day in, day out, you're not working on yourself, you're not improving, you're just living the same boring 9-to-5 life, you're just doing the same old bad habits, you're not going to go anywhere, are you? And think about a woman. If she's got potential interest in you, but she sees sees that you're a bit of a loser, she's going to see that the kind of life that you're living, it is going to drag her down. In 5 years' time, she's going to be miserable. Why would she want to be with a man who's just getting worse over time? Because that's going to make her worse over time. The next red flag is that you don't take charge or demonstrate leadership around women. Women want men to be leaders, they want men to be capable, they want men to be masculine. As a man, it's your job to provide and to protect, to lead your family to greatness. And that is what she looks for in a man. She looks for a man with leadership qualities. And one of the biggest things that men are failing to do is to be more assertive around women. Now, I'm not saying that you control her, that you tell her what to do. I'm not saying that you're some kind of slave driver, but command more authority with your presence. Lead. Don't be the kind of guy that on a date you're asking her where she wants to go or what she wants to do. Let's say you have a string of options and you're just saying, oh, I don't know, what do you want to do? That's what women do. Just make a decision and go with it. And one of the biggest examples of a man not demonstrating leadership and taking charge is when you like a girl but you refuse to ask her out because you're afraid of getting rejected. This is one of the most important tests a man has to pass for a woman to be able to build attraction for him. It's our job to make the first move on a woman. And this is how we demonstrate leadership, because if we're the ones to ask a woman out, it shows her that we've thought about her, we've decided that we like her, and now we've made a move, we've made a decision and we've gone with it, and we've got the balls to face our fears. That's one of the most manly things you can do to a woman. But if you're holding back because you're afraid of rejection, you're afraid of ruining a potential friendship, she's just going to see you as a little bitch. And women like it when a man leads her, because she can now feel safe in your presence, because she can see that you're capable, because you know how to lead, because you demonstrate that in your actions. The next red flag is that you treat other people poorly. This one should speak for itself. Why would a woman want to go out with a man who treats others badly? Perhaps you're on a date with her and the waiter's come over to your table and you've treated him like shit. What is that woman going to think of you? If you treat the waiter like shit, what's to say that in a few months' time you don't treat her like shit? And if she sees that you're treating people badly, she's probably going to start thinking about what other red flags you've got. The next red flag is that you are needy and insecure. If you're not very secure in yourself, a woman is not going to see you as a good option. She's not going to see you as masculine. She's not going to see you as the strong rock that she wants in a man. And by being needy, you're pushing her away. You're putting so much strain on her. The chances are that you don't have a life outside of her. You can't live independently of women. And that is what a man needs. He needs to have his life together. He needs to have things going on in his life. If he's just texting a woman back and forth every single day, and the woman doesn't reply for 5 minutes, and he starts blowing up her phone and asking her what's going on and why she's not talking to him, asking her why she's ignoring him, that's going to get really annoying. A woman doesn't want to deal with that. The next red flag is that you've got a victim mindset and you blame other people for your problems. Nobody wants to be around someone who's got a victim mindset. It's a drain of everyone else's energy. Have you ever been around someone in your friendship group who's never got anything good to say, who always blames other people, who's always dragging everyone else down? You might be someone who has had a difficult past, and I do sympathise with you. If you're the kind of person who's stuck in the past, you're staying bitter about what's happened, the pain that you've gone through, and you don't use it as an experience to be able to grow and learn from it, nothing's ever going to get better for you, is it? And what's this relationship going to be like with this woman? Are you going to be able to provide a good and healthy relationship with this woman, or are you just going to bring her down? So you need to make sure that you're growing as a person. The next red flag is that you are emotionally cold and distant. Now, we've talked about being very needy and insecure, but this can also go the opposite direction. Perhaps you've been hurt in past relationships, and you're scared now of letting your guard down around a woman because you're afraid that you might get hurt again. You have to let go of this. An emotional connection is necessary for a relationship. If you're being cold, you're being distant, you're pushing her away, you're refusing to open up to her, how do you ever expect that emotional connection to grow? How do you expect to form a bond if you're afraid to let your walls down? And think about it like this: how can a woman let her guard down around you? How can she be vulnerable? How can she show her true feminine self around you if you don't even let your guard down? As a man, you are supposed to lead. You're supposed to be strong, confident, capable, and secure in yourself. If you don't have the peace within yourself to be able to let your guard down, and she's never going to feel safe around you, she's never going to feel like she can let her guard down, and it's going to negatively impact your relationship. And if you're in a relationship with a woman and you're constantly cold with her, you're constantly distant, sooner or later she's going to get bored of trying because she can't connect with you. And that's what women want in a relationship. They want that emotional connection. How has being emotionally cold and distant affected your relationships? Let me know, guys. Leave a comment. The next red flag is having low emotional intelligence. You think too inwardly, and you make zero effort to try and understand her. Naturally, men are not very good at reading body language. Generally, women are far more emotionally intelligent than men, but that doesn't mean that it's not a valuable skill to have. If you're emotionally intelligent, you can solve so many problems in your relationship, but you have to step outside of yourself and you have to stop thinking in such a self-centered way. It's naturally going to make the man more valuable because he's going to be more intriguing. It's going to show that he's got depth of character, that he doesn't just think in such a one-dimensional way. And if you've got emotional intelligence, it's going to heavily improve your relationship. Self-reflection and personal development is key to having a successful dating life. Once you work on these things, it gets so much easier and you become way more attractive. So we've talked about your red flags, but what about the red flags in a woman? If you'd like to find out more, click the video on screen right now.